All good in the hood?
Sure. My
All
voice
right.
is going to be.
Yeah, I actually don't think we ever introduced this, but just for shits and giggles, why not? This is the Canadian Placeholder Companion, aka Season 2 of the Placeholder Podcast, which we have now dubbed Placeholder Therapy Sessions with me, Shane, and Vee, who has now been promoted to a regular on the show. You heard what I said. You are tuning into the Canadian Placeholder Companion Podcast Therapy Sessions with Vee and Shane. Hope you enjoy part 3 of the show. So today we're talking about, I guess, me, drama, and all this other type of stuff. So I'll let you lead the way since I guess you have some stuff that you want to bring up.
Well, I just have listened to the other two. Basically, one thing we always talk about is how social media is affecting us and if we are evolving in a positive or a negative direction with it. Don't nod, you have to speak.
No, well, I'm waiting for you to make your point.
Well, no, and that's it, is that like one big thing, okay, it really showed on Father's Day. I'm really putting myself out here, but how many people I saw that were having private struggles with either their own father or someone in their life who's a father, whether it be a relative or a friend. So I know behind the scenes these stories that aren't so glamorous, and then Father's Day, everybody is openly wishing happy Father's Day and all this, and it just really got me thinking more about just how we really only post the positive. Like even you have said in the first podcast we had how I kind of do portray the negative, but I know you've seen those people who they like literally plaster their story on social media, every dirty detail. Like that's what my ex does, similar to the email. So that was just a big, like, I think you would agree with me on all of that.
Yes, I think there's many different ways you can go about this here, and I'm kind of curious on which path you're going and and what you are referring to. I think it's a very interesting thing that you say Father's Day and people have different stories with their fathers. I think being that it's, I guess, an episode that's highlighted around me, no surprise here, I have a lot of family drama and I have a very complex relationship with my own father.
Well, did you wish your father a happy Father's Day openly on social media?
I didn't. The last social media posts I did were for mental health first aid days. Yeah. One saying that social media and common courtesy don't exist unless it's posted on social media for this big grand show for everyone else to see. And another one about sharing the Canadian mental health suicide prevention line. Interestingly enough, the post saying social media and common courtesy and decency doesn't exist without Facebook got, I think, 10 likes, and the post sharing the message and the contact information for the Canadian suicide prevention line got 0 likes. So just a interesting tidbit.
Wowza. Could be algorithms too, if you know how certain things gain attention and don't just based on whatever. I don't know.
It could be, but I thought it was just interesting that a post that was a little bit more dramatic got more attention, yet something that was more practical kind of got glossed over and set aside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got like 4 people reach out to me like, oh, what's this about? I'm like, mental health first aid day. Posted something about suicide, no talkers. So it's
wouldn't even ask you about that one, which is interesting because like I'll notice that like people are more like, when it comes to things like that, they're more likely to reach out in private than commenting openly for everyone to see. But having none is, I know that even that's a thing, is I've noticed when I maybe wasn't in as positive of a state of mind and was posting more on the negatives, I would either have people reaching out in private or they would be, just assuming that I was not doing well and actually kind of being avoidant. It was either one extreme or the other. And then when you're positive, like one thing I've noticed is like the more posts pictures I take of selfies and posts, those get like tons of likes. And I'm just like, not too, like, I have theories on anyway.
It's a it's I don't know, people are messed up, but long story short, I did not make a post about Father's Day. I called my father and had a discussion with him. I think we spoke on the phone once in the morning, and then again while he was out at supper with everyone in Saskatchewan.
Yep, we had supper together. I made it home in time for supper. Yeah. No, but I guess, I don't know. It's interesting to see how some of us will just not and we'll post and we'll keep it private, whereas others will still portray that image like, everything's hunky-dory, fine.
It's weird. I don't know. How's your relationship with your father? Like, how would you classify it?
What's interesting is I was thinking about this today, reflecting on our podcast, listening to it, and I've realized that one of the things is after my mother passed, we were pretty much forced to figure out at least some sort of relationship. So we have had to heal a lot of things, deal with a lot of things. We still don't see eye to eye, but we have learned to tolerate things about each other and treat each other a little bit better. We're both fueled very much by anger. So then there's often yelling, and this is a complicated topic. Anyway, as growing up, as a girl, having that, I was very timid, I think, on dealing with conflict. And then it's funny and ironic because through this, dealing with this with my father, I've become more vocal and just, I trust my intuition and I'm very blunt about it, I guess. And I was also thinking about it's not just my father, it's my brother, even having this podcast with you. I have other male friends that are married and I'm friends with their wives too. But we've had discussions and those things have helped me heal a lot with, just poor relationships in the past, bad experiences with men, and even, my relationship with my father in the past. So it's better. It'll never be perfect.
I'm not sure. I have a odd one. So I grew up physically and mentally abused, and I don't know, I don't want to say my dad really discouraged conversation with my mom, but in a very roundabout way he did. And it's just because my mom was always sick and was constantly getting heart surgery and was doing volunteer experiments. My mom was the second person in Canada to ever receive this one procedure, the first person ever to receive this other procedure, and just kind of flipping the coin to extend her life. And just having conversation with my mom was just kind of a huge deal, and he'd snap. My brother's a bit of a wild person, and I was more quiet and shut in. And so if he wasn't around, he would beat me. And so it's just learning to accept abuse. And he continued to physically beat me, but would start to say stuff that was really hurtful. A recurring thing since I was 15 was, when your mom dies, it's all your fault. And I think we talked about my story, how I got into an argument with my mom and I had some harsh feelings towards her just because of it. It always happened right before my exam that she was always being loud or something like that, like really loud coughing and stuff. And anyways, huge argument with her, and she passed, and I felt like it was all my fault, and it all came true. And taking her ashes to the Philippines and all that stuff, I think the public humiliation continued, and that relationship's damaged. But now that I've moved away and 2 provinces over, and now he wants to be my best friend, and it's a really weird relationship.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't sure that my relationship with my father was going to go the way it did either. And I am living with him right now in his basement suite, but I plan to not be, because it just doesn't work. Not just for obvious reasons. It's just we are not compatible roommates. It's the way it is. But That's the thing is I wasn't, I mean, it's like, I guess I was hoping for the best outcome, which this probably is, but I was also preparing for not, there was a lot of points where I was like, I don't think I can have a relationship with this man. And I don't know if everybody really gets to have, unfortunately, like in a perfect world, we'd all have a great relationship with both our parents, but that's just not reality for everyone. And I think, yeah, we need to work on those things. I think we are, but it just doesn't always. Sometimes it's healthier to not have the relationship, even though it's your parent, but I'm not saying either way. I just, not everybody has, the same.
Do you think it's more just because you're back at home and there's like some, I don't know, projection or some resentment that's he kind of feels like a failure to launch situation where you're back at home and he shouldn't have to, hold your hand like you're a child? Or do you think it's straight up personalities?
I think it's more of the first thing you said. But the thing is, too, and I don't resent this at all, but I have been raised to be independent. So it's one of those where I'm not, like, I never, like when I had my car, they bought my first car, but I paid for the gas. I paid for, major things with it. I have owned and paid for my own house. I've paid my own rent for the most part. They helped me through school, but mostly I worked and saved. And, I appreciate that aspect of it where he doesn't want, like, it's not just like a handout. And in a way, it's an expectation for me to do the best that I can do. I don't know.
Was your relationship better before your mom passed, or was it worse?
With my father?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely worse. Way
Yeah,
worse.
now that, so I want to say mine's better, but I don't know if I like that or not.
Well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay not to.
I think I would rather have that negative. I don't know. It's one of those things where you trade off and go, well, maybe I'm just saying that because I want my mom back. Just kind of like the inner child where you want to keep your innocence. But I think I'd rather have the angry, abusive father than the best buds thing that he's doing now. It's the dynamic's so weird that.
Well, there's other things, other factors too. Like, did he ever straight up apologize for the things that he's done?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, my like I said, like my father used to beat me up, like even if it wasn't my fault. Sometimes he was just had a bad day. I remember one day I was just playing video games, lying on the couch or on the floor playing video games, and one day he just walked up to me and kicked me. Couldn't breathe. I felt like I was gonna throw up. I was on the ground and just like angry. I've never gotten an apology from him ever.
Well, and that acknowledgement is important to repair a relationship. Not everybody gets that acknowledgement and that closure, but if you want to continue a relationship, it's important.
It's different though, because now we're more friends now. Where was this when I was a child?
I agree. I've had those thoughts too, but the thing is, though, is you're always going to have the memory of those things. You're not going to have that acknowledgement, right? I don't know. And that without that, it's hard to just be expected to forget it, let it go. There's healing that needs to be involved.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, there is, but I think it's just I feel like this parental strategy I feel would have been far more superior than what I had growing up. Just because now I'm very, I don't want to say passive or maybe accommodating. It's just you do whatever you do. I'm just gonna keep on focusing on me, and it's not the best strategy to have in life. I mean, it's very helpful to kind of to do that because I mean you get further ahead when you're helping out more people. Like that's just a fact of life. I don't know any selfish person that has been successful, but yeah, it's just I'm missing that piece to say enough's enough. It's a weird, it's a bizarre thing that I wish I would have had earlier.
See, yeah, I don't know if I agree with you that it's not healthy, because it's actually a lot of the advice I've been getting from very different avenues. And it's something I've used is to, if the energy of a person or anything isn't jiving with you, then it is perfectly acceptable to just focus on you or focus on the positives, which would be other people and other things in your life that do give you that good energy, right? Because that's what's going to fill you up, and that's what's going to push you to be the best version of yourself.
I think it
I guess
depends.
is
Yeah, I think it depends on your personality and how you present yourself. I think there's the 5 conflict strategies, right? There's avoid, accommodate, compete, collaborate, compromise. Someone who's more aggressive and kind of quick with a quick fuse and always has to be right. That person can benefit from being more accommodating. With me being more laid back, I think I could benefit from being more competitive. And
but I also think that's part of self-growth and self-actualization, is recognizing that and doing that. Which, I mean, I've given the example in one of these podcasts that we're editing, that in this last relationship where I was dating this person, I at the end I was like, you know what, I'm just going to tell him, like, I don't want to be friends, I'm just going to go, just leave it. But he kept texting, and especially texting that he wanted to be friends. And then I just had a good sleep, and I woke up and I was like, oh, I'm going to be the typical girl to paragraph text this asshole. But if I don't, then I'm just doing what I always do and just completely avoiding the conflict, not expressing how I feel, which I had been doing in this relationship. So I was just like, fuck it. You want to be a dick like you are, then you're just going to get a paragraph. I don't even fucking care if you read it. And I even said that. I was like, I don't even need any closure, acknowledgement of you receiving this. Just fuck off. Don't ever talk to me again. Like, I said a lot of things in there that, anyway, and that was a good thing for me. Even though it's bad shit, crazy girl stuff, I was like, I don't ever do that, but I need to do that.
I
Yeah.
like the batshit crazy girl stuff.
Oh, honestly, I
Do
seen a
you do
meme
you
about it.
do you
It's
do you crave drama? I know that's actually it's a very sexist thing for me to say, but a lot of stuff. If you're looking at, for example, David Data, Waves Superior Man, there is a thought process that women actually crave drama to an extent, and this is where these emotional outbursts and these grand statements of "oh, I'm so done with you," or that's where they come out.
I don't know if I'd say drama. I crave passion. Um, I don't know. I don't enjoy drama. There's plenty of it in my life. Sometimes I wonder, like, why, but I don't like it. Like, actually, I highly enjoyed today just peacefully lying on my bed and going through our podcasts and time stamping, and then going outside to tan and pick weeds out of my garden. That is, honest to goodness, I don't want drama. Not anymore.
No, but I think have you ever seen? I know you're not like a YouTube person, but have you seen like movies or TV shows where they do like the romantic collages and they show, I don't know, Friends where Ross and Rachel are arguing and then they break up and then they show them making up. They show them like being sad and crying and then another huge argument. Like I think like women like those like peaks and valleys. They don't want to get stuck at one emotional level, so they will fuck up the lives of men to get that angry, fucked up
Sure, I
spot where you argue, and then they want the makeup, and then they want that peak and valley kind of thing.
Sure, probably. Honestly, this is kind of why I want to talk about some of your issues with dating, because I'm curious where some of this. I think you're right. I've heard this stuff before. I just cannot relate, because for me, it's like I like adventure. So for me, those, surprise, like, let's go for this drive to the sunset, or we're going to go to like this place for the weekend or whatever, those surprise adventure, like, then there's excitement there. You can get your drama, which I think is just, it can be passion. It doesn't have to be, but that's the difference, right? I think we're all confusing things. And yeah, I am curious. I don't know, like some of the examples you gave was like, you just keep on this women shit test their men. How many girls have been distrusting towards you?
What do you mean by distrusting?
Well, I don't know.
Like
Whatever.
questioning my, I guess my
Manhood.
my male leadership.
I guess so. Is that, yeah? I
No,
question all the time.
which is right, which is a shit test, right? I
Well,
I get it like quite a bit, but it's tougher because the longer you are in a relationship, the more you expect common decency and common courtesy to exist. So
absolutely.
it then no longer becomes a question of your leadership. It becomes a question of you as a person, and that's where these relationship arguments come from. On which phase of the relationship is it? In the just getting to know you, or I'm trying to chat you up and you kind of question me. I could play it off and joke and flirt with you, but if it's 5 years down the line, I'm like, why the hell do you always do this? Like, I'm just
Absolutely. Yeah. We talked about how, that's almost like the chasing stage over and over. How, like, why does the guy have to continue to woo? And I think, or like even the shit test stuff, it's like what it is it's, because healthy relationships, what I see is the man is doing things like the house renos, and the woman is doing, now with the progression of gender, women are working and men are working and blah blah blah, the women kind of just do whatever is needed, but like the men are still doing these protector, provider roles, even if it's not monetarily, and the women are, they're helping with that, but they're also,
I think as much as people are against gender roles, people are happy when they do conform to some sort of them, and doesn't necessarily mean a man has to do manly things. A man can do the traditional womanly things.
Yep.
I mean, a man can cook and clean and garden, and a woman can go out and make money and leave the man behind to take care of the kids. As long as like there is a conformance to a role, I think people typically work happier, because you're dividing and conquering responsibilities.
Yeah, I think that's just compatibility, and I honestly think not settling. You got to really choose if you're looking for long term anyway, because there's a lot of different relationships out there now too. I'm learning, like, friends with benefits is so common too. It's just very open relationship days, which is
situationships. I got introduced to that term.
That's what my last one was. It was bounce between textationship and situationship. And I'm like, I fucking hate these words, but they're just legit as shit. And I cannot believe.
I don't get it.
Get what?
All these things, right? But my general thought process is if a man's responsible to get the relationship going, then it's the woman's responsibility to keep the relationship going.
So the woman is going to, I'm thinking, okay, she's going to dress in some sexy lingerie sometimes, or she's going to make the house smell nice and look clean, or because like men are visual, and okay, they're cooking, yes, food, nice bed, make sure the bed's made, clean towels, whatever, those little soft things that you guys secretly like but they won't admit. Whatever, I don't know, that's where you're supposed to talk more this podcast episode, because
see, I'm deflecting because I know that we're going to be talking about some dark shit, so I opened up with my big one, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to chill out and let you talk about yourself.
So like that's the thing, is we can do those things as women, but what are you guys? So you're going to continue to provide and or protect, but as for like that little, like, keeping the relationship going, wooing, surprise dates, I guess, like, I don't know, bringing home flowers, what, you know what I mean? Like, it can't just be, I think that's where the resentment comes in, because we're also working, most of us women now. It's really difficult to have a relationship where you're not both working.
I don't know about that. I'm in a relationship where no one works. I work. Fucking hell.
You should tell me about this. I really need to know what is going on so I can, like, I'm sure I could learn some things. I'm sure I've done some of these things. I'm sure it could help or
Sure.
something.
So
We can help people.
help people help me.
Whatever.
I straight up kind of gave you the long and the short of it. I met someone. I confided in her that I was physically and mentally abused. I've also told about a situation with another girl who said I was doing stuff that I wasn't, and I felt really, really terrible and trapped. And I confided in a person, and we are in a 5-year relationship now, and she, as a woman and her dating strategies, has decided to use that against me. So you kind of wanted to bring up a point, and that was if you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. And I think that just highlights it in general. It's just that it's a situation where one person's always doing their best and one person is actively choosing to do worse. And the problem with that, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best phrase that a lot of women tend to post on social media is just that you can always choose to be worse.
I think some people are also like mentally ill and it causes that. You read the email. Anyway. So yeah, my thing with that though is exactly what you said. Like if the person is not trying to be better and actually improving themselves at all, then it is really just an excuse. Yeah, like there's two sides to every coin, I guess, right? But
how's that line get defined?
Well, I think that's the toxic part of feminism is it's like a power struggle. It's like women want this power, but then there's other things that they want too that they need from their partner. And I think that's where, I don't know, really it's like we've talked about divine feminine and masculine or polarity, what is it? Forget what you called it. Anyway.
Pair bonding?
Pair bonding. Yes. So I think we're not focusing on that as much as, it's if we really are evolving, that's where the struggle is going to be, is between this traditional mindset that we're trying to mold from into opening up gender roles and even like all kinds of things. Like we have transgender now, we have homosexual relationships, we have binary transgender, we have even two-spirit. There's all these different kinds of concepts around gender, and the only way we're going to get around this is openly talking about it and openly working on ourselves. Like you can't change other people, you can't control other people. That's, I hope. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm evolving. I'm an evolved one. I ain't. No, not yet. Maybe someday, hopefully.
No.
But like, that's I don't know. I'm what?
No, there's no such thing as I'm evolved. You're constantly in a process of evolving. If the day you stop is the day that, like you've given up, like you need to constantly work on yourself.
Okay, I'm the evolving woman then, not the whatever the opposite is.
Well, we tend to look at ourselves as finished products, right? It's in my 20s I was such a douchebag. It's like, but how is that different than when you're in your 30s? You're just a different level of douchebag. I've
always been a bitch. Yeah.
You're always gonna go. You're always gonna progress. You kind of have to keep on working at it, just because the shitty part about being an adult is that you don't have anyone correcting your own behaviors, and you fall into these own security blankets that you set for yourself. Well, I don't want to do it. Well, it's just because you don't want to do something doesn't mean that it's right. And the fact that you're growing and you don't have anyone basically making you do something, then you kind of miss out on that growth. So you need to constantly push yourself and constantly work on yourself.
Yeah, but how many do you think are actually understanding all that?
I think it's not something that people will actually have that mental conversation with themselves or journal. I think some people won't, but I'd say that there's majority of people do. I think it comes in the form of New Year's resolutions. I mean, most people don't meet them, but no, it is, right? Like this year I'm working out, you fail for about 10 years, and then on the 11th year, magically you kind of stick to it, right? It's that ebb and flow. I think it's just something people naturally understand, but if you put into your conscious thought, you kind of, get the car started a bit earlier.
Right. So what about these cases, like, for example, yours situation, that they don't evolve? So why do you stay?
So I made a promise to I made a few promises to my dead mother, and I think the phrasing is for better or for worse. A promise is a promise.
Are you married?
No, but
But
if you make a promise to someone, then that's just as good. Yeah, that's
tough.
That's the long and short of it. Before my mom passed, I had told her that I was going to settle down and do great things. And yeah, that's kind of where it's at right now.
So did this happen after your mom passed, that she posted? Was she like that before your mother passed? Like,
I wasn't with her. I was with that really successful girl, the top 20 Canadians girl.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was with her, and that's when my mom and I had that conversation of just, she told me like there's many different types of health. There's your physical health, your mental health, your sexual health, your social health, right? Emotional health, spiritual health. So she was having conversation with me, and I just thought that it was just my mom, was just, we don't really get to talk too much, but I thought she was just kind of going on one of her own things, but little did I know that she knew that she was going to die soon. So when she passed, I broke up with the really successful beyond her freaking years and time girl. She left me just because I stopped talking to her completely, ghosted her. And yeah, I end up with this one. And so it's a promise is a promise. So I'm keeping
but
it.
You don't have those things.
Yeah, well, because of my financial health is no longer good because of my career being out the
Ruined
window.
by her. So
Yeah,
I'm just saying, in a way, are you really keeping your promise?
I don't know. I think I am.
So which ones are, like, you're really getting all the others fulfilled though? Like spiritual health,
Huh.
mental health. I don't know. It's like I really believe that, like, the mother nature would want the best for their children, right? Which is not to, beat themselves up about, because I mean, I thought too, like, I was always going to my mom with all my negative problems. I could have contributed cancer because stress, but I don't know. It's like, in the end, I guess, like, the way you could celebrate her life is by living your life to the fullest, trying to be the best that you can be.
Yeah,
Like, it's,
I don't know. It's like I don't want to be a pity party, and that's why I always deflect and I laugh it off. But I mean, to me, a promise is a promise, and that's kind of the essentials of it, anyways.
it's just such a tough thing. Like, everything you've been through and everything you have to deal with is super intense and difficult, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I like Dan's joke though. It's like don't ever ask Shane, how's it going or how you feeling, because there's always something wrong. But I always laugh about it and joke about it, right? That's the thing. I can.
Easy for people to say who have never experienced that level. Like, that's the difference. If they actually went through the things that you did, they probably wouldn't make those jokes. I don't know. That's just what I think. So
Yeah, well, I
it
mean,
is like,
Dan understands. Like
oh,
Dan's been
absolutely.
like Dan was there like in the Philippines,
Oh,
just
absolutely.
celebrating,
But
like burying my mom and all that. Like Dan was like there supporting. Like that's crazy.
well, no, absolutely. But, like, I'm not saying just Dan, like, people saying things like that where it's like, oh yeah, you just whatever. Because I'm even kind of saying it and saying, oh, but you can try. Like, It's just, I don't know. It's
I don't know.
because yeah, it sucks to like live in that forever. And I don't know, I'm trying to understand the promise you made too, because it seems like she just brings you down a lot in a lot of ways. So that's where I'm like, how does this benefit your well-being? That's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the at the simplest terms, right? It's at the most simplest terms, it's just I'm not gonna give up because I feel responsible for my mom's death, and yeah, I'm just gonna tough it out, I guess, and keep on working to try and find a solution, but keep on doing my best to protect and provide and do the right thing as a man.
But it's like I've heard of these women before, and I feel like they ruin men. They ruin good men
But
because you guys go through these emotional torture. Like it's unreal. You know what I mean? Because I wonder if it's like the fuckboy term. Okay, so like what this like base like I've been watching that podcast, yes, but basically it's like a lot of these guys very likely were just like severely fucked over by a girl to the point where basically they're like where I'm at, like fuck this shit, like. But instead of, because I don't know, the part I don't get is I'm like, I don't want to date around. I want to be really picky because of like these last two were so intensely terrible that, you know, I just cannot go through that again. I need to make sure it's legit. But, you know, there's also fuck girls, but fuck boys and fuck girls, they just like go around and just do their thing without the emotional attachment. And then once they start to feel that, they like push it away. And it's a cycle that they get into until I guess they decide they don't want to be like that anymore, or they just don't. So crazy because like it sounds exactly or very similar to the relationship I just left. And it's like, yes, we're talking about you who's in a partnership and me who's not. But it was like when I left this guy, I was 85 pounds. And yeah, I did get help from my family for it, but I also had helped my family with a lot with like house sitting and whatever. With mom passing, I like took over a lot, but I had $3,000 in credit cards. I still have a $15,000 loan. You know, I have all these things that I've racked up. But yeah, it was the same thing. Like he would just contribute what he wanted so that he could pay for these things that he had accumulated and the credit he had earned through me, through like owning a house together. And yeah, it just got to a point where I was like, you know, I just can't do this anymore. And I mean, for you, it's different because you're the man and that's the man thing, but
it's a fucked up thing anyways.
Yep. Everybody has a breaking point. I guess that's all I can say.
Yeah, but I'm committed to keeping a promise, and that's the short story.
That's fair. That's just intense.
I have an intense life.
I see that.
Yeah.
Would you say that men in general go through as much as you, or like similar emotions and stuff? Or
I don't say as much as me, right? Because like, I mean, my dad pointed a gun at me, you know, put it right to my head, put it right to, you know, not right at my head, but he pointed it right at me, and then 5 minutes later I have to wrestle it out of his hand so that I could stop him from shooting himself.
God, I honestly think that men are even bigger pussies now, because I'm like, look what you're fucking still doing after everything. And these guys are like fuck boys in their 30s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is no shortage of things that I can improve on as a man. I'm probably one of the more flawed ones, but the thing is though, I'm willing to admit it, and because I'm so nerdy that I'm happy to admit it.
Whatever.
Yeah, so it's like that's my redeeming factor, is that it helps me that I'm nerdy, but it also hurts me too. So I'm no short of flaws.